When a murder happens in a small town, people talk, especially when the victim was 6 months pregnant, murdered in her own doorway. And investigators at the Putnam County Sheriff's Office believe some people in the community know more than what they are telling. Dale and Ronald Whitford remember the night everything changed. It was June 9th, 2007.
I was laying in bed, I heard sirens going, not knowing the siren was for my child.
Their daughter, Tyvon Whitford, lived less than a mile away. She had a 5-year-old son and was 6 months pregnant with her second child. Her parents remember a frantic knock on the door that night. It was Tyvon's boyfriend who told them she was bleeding.
I thought it was a miscarriage because he only used the word she was bleeding, so I thought it was a miscarriage. But when we got there and I saw the crime tape, I knew then it was a total difference.
They followed the ambulance to the hospital and were told their daughter and her unborn baby were not going to make it.
We was able to go into the room after they had cleaned her up some, so we could say our last goodbyes.
At 25 years old, Tyvon and her unborn daughter were dead, murdered in the doorway of her own home. A memorial still sits outside that house on County Road 21 in Hawthorne, but the question remains, who killed her? Somewhere inside these investigative files at the Putnam County Sheriff's Office is likely the answer. Thousands of pages of interviews, reports, and notes. Sergeant Matthew Keith says on the night Tyvon died, there were 2 911 calls. The first from Tyvon.
One of the very first things that the dispatcher was trying to get from her was where she was located. And so, unfortunately, did not get the information of who the attacker was.
He says the second call came minutes after hers, and it was from her boyfriend.
He says that he was in the area when the shooting occurred. He was supposed to be bringing her some Tylenol. She had a headache, he said, and he was supposed to be bringing her some Tylenol to the house. That was kind of the story that he had given us, and we were unable to put him or anybody else at the house at the time of the shooting.
In the original pictures from the scene, a shell casing lays on the ground near a child's toy. Sergeant Keith says there was no forced entry, and neighbors remember hearing 2 gunshots that night. Tyvon's son, Larry Jr., was asleep in the other room, but his grandparents say he was awoken by the shots and came out to see his mother on the floor, dying. Memories that still haunt him today.
And over the years, he told me, I told her I loved her, and he said he could hear the gurgling. And she told him she loved him too. He fought it himself for a while because he said if only he could have put the battery back in her phone, he could have called the police. But I told him it wasn't his fault. It had nothing to do with him.
Though Tyvon's family has banded together to raise her son, the pain is still there, compounded by the fact that her case has gone cold, even though they and investigators believe members in the community know more than what they are telling.
There are a lot of people in that community that are very close to each other. I believe that whoever was responsible for it has probably talked about it, just getting the right person to come forward to give us information.
Her parents say though an arrest won't bring them closure, it will be a piece of healing for their family. And until that day, they will never give up fighting for her.
Can't let her down. I can't let her down.
If you know anything about the murder of Tyvon Whitford, call the Putnam County Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Katie Jeffries with photographer Jeff Renfro, First Coast News, on your side.